Following many decades of painful discrepancy, Beijing and the Sacred See seem to be on the peak of a historical consent to solve one of the thorniest issues among the two, a growth how is separating the chapel's followers in China and for. Beijing has length insisted on possessing the definitive say on all archbishops serving in continent China. Time the Sacred See maintains how just the Pope of Rome has such a credibility. A Vatican representative told Thursday a transactions was no inevitable. Separated loyalties. The human beings' Republic of China disconnected tactful bonds in the Vatican in 1951 following an estimated, and frequently disgraced, murder story versus China leaders comprising a Roman Catholic clergyman. The governing and formally secularist communistic side had length depicted overseas sectarian institutions such as the Roman Catholic Chapel as enemy forces accountable for the nation's affliction and indignity for the deceased 19th and previous 20th centuries. In spite a constitution warranty of sectarian liberty, Beijing just formally permits Catholics to worshipping by the line of the Patriot Roman Catholic Associate, that does not identify pontifical credibility. Priesthood and ritualists who stay loyalist to the Pope of Rome and opposed by the government monitoring include florid oppression, harassment or detention, coercion lot to experience their beliefs secretly. Heating bonds. Florid in decreasing chapel maintenance in the Western, the Sacred See is thirsty to contribute Catholic in the evolving planet. Getting formal accessing to China, whose people of 1.4 trillion human beings is slightly greater rather than the full quantity of Catholics world, seems just insurmountable. In its increasing world economical and policy influence, China is as well acute to repair fences in one of the planet's largest powerful institutions to pillar its own world picture. Beijing has length set to facility for the recovery of tactful relations, needing the Sacred See dwell by the China politics and no hinder in China's sectarian sphere. The Vatican now support formal bonds in Taiwan, wherever the China nationalists fled following a murderous civilian war in 1949. Formally named as the Republic of China, Taiwan is examined as a break provincial by Beijing, that tonsure to get the personality-ruled isle behind, by strength if required. Same Vatican has no conscience on refusing Taiwan, told Main Joseph Zen, ex-Archbishop of Post Kong and a vocals reviewer of the Beijing by the government. I believe the Taiwan by the government is prepared for any changing, the bishops already take and know. Sticking out spot. China's other state has tested lot stronger for the Vatican to Martin. Beijing wants definitive say on all bishops equipped in continent China. Time the Vatican says just the Pope of Rome has such a force. Time history serving include turned on names adopted by both of authorities. Beijing has as well mentioned bishops in straight opposition to the Pope of Rome's wishes, guideline to clashes above their legality. A representative for China's overseas ministry rejected expertise of any continuing negotiations among the two sides, time reiterating Beijing's general stance on relations in the sacred view. We are readily to job in the Vatican to seek for the advance in our structural dialogue and the enhancement of our bonds, Lu Kong said reporters environment. Yet, though the opportunity of a trade-off has worried several chapel leaders, who are worried if the Pope of Rome would include actual presidential veto force above Beijing's nominations, or would just tire stamp such a submissions. We're concerned how his departure to be a bad transactions, told Main Zen. I suspicion how the Beijing by the government fair wants the Vatican to assist them remove the subterranean black next. Already, accountable include founded on Vatican-appointed bishops creature requested to move towards to-do chamber for Beijing-sanctioned priests as portion of an imminent duplex treaty. Addition to the terror of subterranean Catholics in China, one of their bishops, who was previous arrested by officials, newly missing for 2 days front of Easter. By CEO Xi Jinping, the largest strong China lead in many decades, the Beijing by the government has tight its monitoring above religious and cracked downward difficult on liberty of express. Xi fair startup a large by the government reorganization schema, elimination the country authority for sectarian sphere and setting sectarian matters by the straight monitoring of the communistic side. Beijing doesn't thoroughness for any bad impressions external China, Main Zen told. they are sure they can do whatever since no dares criticize the China by the government, though the Pope of Rome,